When we think of national security, we usually picture tanks, fighter jets, and guarded borders. But the weapons of the 21st century look a little different. They are the critical minerals inside every microchip, electric vehicle, and AI processor. Looking at this map of global rare earth element supply chains, a massive bottleneck stands out. China controls roughly 90% of the world's processing capacity for these crucial materials. If that single route shuts down, production of advanced technology worldwide stops with it. To break that monopoly, India and the United States are digging in together. The two countries signed a landmark framework to secure alternative supply chains for critical minerals, focusing on joint investments in heavy mining, processing, and recycling. Relying on a single nation for the raw materials of modern technology creates a massive strategic vulnerability. This agreement moves beyond commerce, establishing the baseline requirement for India to maintain its technological and military independence. That push for independence extends out into the ocean. The Quad, India, the US, Japan, and Australia, is pooling its diplomatic weight and resources to launch a new Indo-Pacific maritime surveillance collaboration. The goal is to monitor critical choke points and secure vital sea lanes. India is taking a highly visible role in this effort. Very soon, it will host the next iteration of the Quad at Sea mission, bringing the coast guards of all four nations together to establish a unified physical presence in the water. But while the Navy patrols the open ocean, the government is looking closely at vulnerabilities closer to home. There is growing concern over rapid, unnatural demographic changes happening within India's own borders. To address this, the center has formed a high-level committee headed by retired Supreme Court Judge Prakash Navlikar. The panel's mandate is to study population shifts driven by illegal immigration and recommend concrete mechanisms to identify and deport undocumented migrants. Modern defense requires a wide lens, whether it means tracking naval movements in the South China Sea or monitoring undocumented infiltration across a land border. India's security strategy is rapidly adapting to handle complex, non-traditional threats. A nation's security relies heavily on the stability of its own government. Right now, India's foundational political structures are facing severe stress tests from within. In 1985, India introduced the 10th Schedule, commonly known as the Anti-Defection Law. The logic was straightforward: prevent individual lawmakers from switching political parties for personal profit after they were elected. The law included an exception for party mergers, but that carve-out has become a massive loophole. Instead of stopping individual defections, the rules are being used to facilitate mass defections. Entire factions are splitting off to merge with rivals, effectively toppling sitting state governments. When exceptions are exploited to bypass the mandate of the voters, the system inverts. A constitutional tool originally designed to protect the integrity of the government has become the exact mechanism used to dismantle it. While political boundaries shift in the legislature, friction also escalates along India's natural ones. For decades, the Kaveri River has remained a flashpoint between the states of Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Karnataka is pushing to build the Mekedatu balancing reservoir to secure drinking water for the rapidly expanding city of Bengaluru. Downstream, Tamil Nadu is fiercely opposing the project, fearing the dam will choke off the water supply required for its agricultural irrigation. Tamil Nadu took the issue to the Supreme Court, but the court dismissed the petition as premature. They ruled that until Karnataka's detailed project report is actually reviewed by water management authorities, legal intervention is unnecessary. Managing a shared resource in an era of scarcity is incredibly difficult. Internal battles over basic necessities like water create deep domestic fault lines, testing the cooperative fabric of the country. Those natural resources also include the nation's fragile ecosystems. In Gujarat, the Gir National Park stands as the final refuge for the endangered Asiatic lion. But this isolated population is facing a microscopic killer. Recently, lion cubs in the park have died from an infection called babesia. It's a tick-borne parasite that causes severe weakness and respiratory failure in wild animals, and it poses a grave threat to the surviving prides. While biologists fight parasites in the forest, conservationists are fighting a legal battle over the country's water systems. The Supreme Court is currently examining the government's 2017 rules on wetland management. The core issue is how we define a wetland. The current government rules exclude many man-made and historical wetlands from environmental protection. Critics argue this narrow definition violates India's international obligations under the Ramsar Convention, leaving dozens of vital ecological sites vulnerable to destruction. We often expect ecological collapse to look like a massive, sudden disaster. But reality is quieter. It happens slowly, through microscopic parasites in a forest and subtle shifts in legal definitions. There is one final threat that bypasses national borders and political debates entirely. It is a biological attack on the nation's own population. This chart shows primary causes of mortality in India today. Non-communicable diseases now account for 60% of all deaths. Breaking that down, 32% of these fatalities are cardiovascular, with an alarming spike in heart disease among the youth. Medical reports point to a combination of highly sedentary lifestyles, continuous chronic stress, and heavy reliance on processed foods, drastically shifting our traditional eating patterns. India is hardening its geopolitical defenses and securing critical supply chains on the global stage. Yet, the numbers suggest that the country's future depends equally on a different kind of resilience, a silent, internal struggle to protect the health of its environment and its own citizens.